Most welcome to Historiespanarna, History Reconnaissance. This is US atomic bomb tests in the 1950s. Just roll down your sleeves and put on a hat. Duck down in your foxhole for a minute. Then, don't miss the most beautiful sight in the world, the mushroom cloud. Get rid of some radioactive dust with a broom and march on. That's the message to the American foot soldier in these clips. Learn the facts and then conquer the atomic battlefield. Oversimplified? A little gung-ho? Watch these scenes from the 1950s in Nevada and see if you agree. And please, like, share and subscribe. It means a lot to us.
Today, no one has a greater interest or a greater stake in the development and the use of atomic firepower than the American soldier. Would the ground soldier become obsolete? Was a question asked immediately by civilian and military alike. To answer the question and to explore its ramifications, the U.S. Army set up an atomic experiment station at Camp Desert Rock, Nevada. By winter of 1954-55, 31 different atomic devices had been tested.
You are here to participate in an atomic maneuver. Atomic weapons are truly powerful, but they don't mean the end of all life as so many people think. You can live through an atomic attack, and by taking common sense precautions, live to fight another day.
The plan supposes that an aggressor has seized the west coast of the United States, but our troops have finally stopped him right along this position, ground zero. Here, the atomic weapon will be used. Next, our troops will attack and seize the target area. Immediately, the plans are approved. Army engineers go to work. Across the monotonous terrain of Frenchman's Flat, they set up their transits and begin to lay out the exercise area.
Let's take a look at a typical atomic explosion. See what happens, and find out what there is to be afraid of and what we don't have to fear. First of all, what's our first inkling that an atomic bomb has gone off? That's a tremendous flash of bluish-white light, many times brighter than the sun, and a lot closer to you. Whether the bomb went off 5 or 55 miles away, you'll know that it has gone off by this light, and that you should take immediate action to protect yourself. As soon as that glare fades, you'll see a ball of fire at the point where the explosion occurred. This fireball turns from white to orange, then to a bright red.
10 minutes before, all troops take cover. 2 minutes before, a siren will blow. Every soldier must then place his equipment under cover and squat down, leaning against the forward wall of his foxhole. At the proper instant before H hour, rockets will be fired skyward for measuring purposes. Elements of Task Force Razor stand in readiness. A few miles away lies a sandy parcel of land called Ground Zero. No longer an anonymous, desolate stretch of land, Ground Zero is level, then topped with a series of concentric asphalt circles, forming an enormous target.
H hour minus 2 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. All personnel kneel down in the trenches. Lean against the forward wall and stay down. Minus 1 minute. Thirty seconds. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
man and machines have been traveling through the wastelands of the Mojave and the Death Valley deserts. Once it reaches the detonation area, Task Force Razor will pause briefly for the explosion, then move forward to encounter and subdue a ghost battalion entrenched in the target area.
Eventually, the cloud drifts off, and you can't tell it from the other clouds in the sky. Watched from a safe distance, this explosion is one of the most beautiful sights ever seen by man. You're probably saying, so it's beautiful. What makes it so dangerous? But at 1 mile, which is pretty close to one of these gadgets, ordinary clothing will protect you. Keep your sleeves rolled down and wear a hat. Of course, if you're in the shaded portion of a foxhole at the time of detonation, you are perfectly safe from the heat of the bomb. Anything that casts a shadow will protect you.
Maintenance and supporting forces are given a taste of nuclear warfare, as well as the men trained for frontline duty. In reality, such decontamination teams would play a vital role in helping to keep our fighting machine intact. Ground Zero has been reached, explored, and left behind. One of the 13 successful desert rock experiments in this series is history. Vehicles, weapons, and equipment are inspected for damage. They represent an enemy's arms, but they could be our own. Some damaged beyond repair, others still usable. As an added safety measure, every man is thoroughly brushed and checked with a Geiger counter before he is allowed to return to his campsite. Every individual has received a singular personal impression, of course, but most of the participants have formed an opinion in common.
But, Bert, don't you think that the atomic weapon would be a mighty powerful thing for our soldiers to avoid on the battlefield?
Well, Al, there's no question about it. It is a powerful weapon. But we have had proven to us in these tests that a soldier can fight and survive on an atomic battlefield if he protects himself adequately.
Well, Bert, you were out there. How's about some comments on this radiation I hear so much about?
Well, there is radiation. There's no question about that. But, well, for example, the other day I was out there at 2,500 yards from Ground Zero, and I received 1 milliroentgen of radiation during that time. And it takes approximately 450 Roentgens to place one in the critical category. So, as you can see, I'm still here.
And what about the ground soldier in the atomic age? Desert rock experiments give a clear answer. The atom has revolutionized the mechanics of warfare, but the basic element, the fighting man, remains unchanged. No one is more aware of this than the men of the United States Army.
The U.S. Army's 1950 Atomic Energy Indoctrination pamphlet showed that the military was concerned that misperception of the effect of an airburst could be damaging in combat. It stated lingering radioactivity would be virtually non-existent in the case of the normal airburst. It reassured the soldiers. The greater danger was the probability an unreasoning fear of lingering radioactivity would take an unnecessary toll in American lives. Could our troops enter the area directly below the explosion of an airburst at 2,000 feet within a day? The answer was yes. Or could they move into Ground Zero directly? The answer was yes, if there were regular field clothing. These answers were not correct. Answers to questions like the above depended on weather conditions, the yield of the weapon, and the assumptions about the degree of risk from low levels of exposure. And if rain is present, a substantial amount of fallout may be localized.
That's all, folks. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.